becoming very, very popular. Wow. Yeah.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here on this blustery, another blustery day. I guess it is spring, right? We get storms in the spring, so this is normal. I don't know. But I pulled out my book, The Four Agreements. For those of you that were here last week, you know that. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it's written by Don Miguel Ruiz, who's from Mexico. And it's about the Toltec philosophy, I guess. And they're the ones that built the pyramids near Mexico City, the Toltec. And they were like a group of artists and scientists. And so their philosophy is pretty interesting. And he says that all you need is these four agreements, that we have many agreements that we've developed in our lifetime. So, for instance, maybe someone told you you were a good girl and you believe that. And so this is an agreement you made with yourself that you're a good girl and you recognize that as truth, which is a good one, right? But there's also maybe some negative ones that you believe about yourself. And so he's saying that you should get rid of all those agreements and just go with these four agreements. And the first one we talked about last week is be impeccable with your word. So always be truthful. And basically it's true to yourself through what you do and say. And the one I wanted to talk about today is the second agreement, which is don't take anything personally. Yeah, and everybody laughs, but if you think about it, it's so true. So let me just share with you. Whatever happens around you, don't take it personally. Using an earlier example, if I see you on the street and I say, hey, you are so stupid, without knowing you, it's not about you, it's about me. If you take it personally, then perhaps you believe you're stupid. Maybe you think to yourself, how does he know? Is he clairvoyant, or can everybody see how stupid I am? You take it personally because you agree with what was said. As soon as you agree, the poison goes through you and you are trapped in a dream of hell. What causes you to be trapped is what we call personal importance. Personal importance, or taking things personally, is the maximum expression of selfishness because we make the assumption that everything is about me. During the period of our education or our domestication, we learn to take everything personally. We think we are responsible for everything. Me, always me. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in a completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make the assumption that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world on their world. So we all know this to be true, but it's hard to actually live that, right? So if you remind yourself, oh, that kind of hurt, but I'm not going to take it personally, it goes a long way. So please close your eyes. And drink in a few long, slow, deep breaths. Bring hands to heart center. May we all remember to not take things personally. When we realize that that is the truth, and that we don't have to make agreements from what other people say, we're much better able to see that there's grace all around us, in others, in ourselves. Please lower your hands, open your eyes, and come on to all fours, please. And just start moving. In a circle. Sorry. I was going to restart my computer for some reason. That's not good. And move in a circle. And actually think of moving your shoulders in a circle and your pelvis in a circle as you do this. You can do them separately or together. Just kind of get wild with your movement, just kind of loosening everything up. You can add a little cat-cow movement, side-to-side movement. And widen your knees a bit. Bring your big toes together. Sit back to a child's pose. Just walk your fingers out a little bit further. Lift your armpits, lift your elbows, lift your wrists. And then plant your hands and come on back up again. And just move a little bit more. You can turn your hands out if you want to move, warm up your wrists, even turn them backwards if you want. Your thumbs are out. Warm up the forearms, wrists. Ooh. And then turn everything back forward. Come forward onto your bellies. It's gonna warm up your backside now. So as you come down, stretch your feet long. Bring your hands under your elbows. Bring your forehead down. And then think, okay, I'm gonna lengthen the side of my body, move the shoulder blades on the back, broaden the clavicles, draw the rib cage back, lift the feet, lift your head and shoulders. You don't have to lift very high, just think long spine, and then maybe lift your hands just an inch or two. Salabhasana. And release back down. We're going to do that again a couple more times. So just think, how long can I get through my spine? Shoulders on the back, rib cage on the back. Lift the feet, lift the head, lift the hands. And this time, maybe stretch the arms forward by your ears. You might have to lower down a little bit. Bring the hands back, hover them under the elbows, lower them and lower down. Whew. Get you a little warmer. sure your feet are hip distance apart. Activate your legs by pressing the tops of your feet down. Think shoulders back, rib cage back. Lift head, lift feet, lift hands. Just a little bit. And then stretch your arms now by your hips. This is the regular position of locust pose or salabhasana. Hover the hands back and lower down. Go ahead and push back to child's pose again. It'll give me an opportunity to take off a layer. And see how that feels on your backside. My goal is always to strengthen areas where we get weak. Think of that as what we're doing. And then shift forward again onto your belly. Hands under elbows. Lengthen. Shoulders back. Rib cage back. Feet lift, head lift. Hands lift. Cover the hands. Stretch them by the ears. Bring them back, hover the hands. Stretch them by the hips, along the other way. Hover the hands and lower down. Take a breath. Press the feet down. Lengthen your spine as you lift to cobra now. Feel like a piece of cake, right? Lengthen and lower down. Push back to all fours again and do your wild cow cat movement, circles, whatever. Loosen everything back up. And then go ahead and bring your hands forward somewhat. Connect with all parts of your hand and lift your hips up to a downward facing dog. Feel a stretch across your glutes, back of your legs. Walk the dog for a little bit. Stretch out your calves. Feel how strong your back is. Good, and then take a child's pose again. And come on up to all fours. Lift to down dog again. And step your hands back, one hand width at a time, back to your feet, forward fold. Uttanasana. That feels kind of nice. You can grab your elbows if you want. That feels good. Maybe swing side to side a little bit. And then bend your knees, bring your hands on your knees, come upright to a chair pose. Rest into your feet and come on up. Want to warm up a little bit more with your breath. So we're going to do what I call breath of fire. So you just take little sips of breath in, and then on the last one, you just open your mouth and go, and it looks like this. So you bring your hands forward with a little sip, to the side with a little sip, up with a little sip, and then okay, start with me. Two more. Stay in forward fold. And find your blocks. I don't know if they're actually, come to the front of your mat because that's where your blocks are. Grab them. And I'm going to have you come to a downward facing dog on the blocks. We'll see how this works. You guys are an experiment here. Bend your knees slightly. Extend the right leg. Bend the knee. And bring the knee out to the side without lifting your right hip. And extend the leg. And bend your left knee and bring it down as you lower the right knee. So you're in a position to stretch the inner thigh. Good. And then just move forward and back, stretching out everything. Make sure kneecap, toes point the same direction. If you can ground the right foot down completely, it feels better. Yeah. Lower your left knee, Connie. There you go. All the way to the floor. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Oh, that feels good. Good. Now pause. Step that foot to the outside of the right block. And you might have to move your left knee back. I don't know. You decide. And then do the same thing. Just straighten and bend. Try to keep your hips square to the front, shoulders square. A little bit different angle than we typically do, but it feels really nice if you can keep everything lined up. And one more time. And bend into the front knee, lift the back knee. And just feel that position. Have your shoulders above your wrist and step back to plank there on the blocks. And then push your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Should we try it on the other side? I gotta turn this way because I don't have enough room. So extend the left leg. I like to keep a baby bend in both knees. Extend the left leg. Hug the heel in towards your bum. Bring the left knee off to the side. Extend the leg, and as you do, lower your right knee and lower the left foot. It's kind of and then just work that hip a little bit. Straighten and bend. Ground the foot down if it's not. I think in the spring, sometimes we get out and do yard work. We start exercise programs, so we just need to stretch out everything. Good. Pause. Step that foot to the outside of the left block and start moving back and forth there. good. Good. When your knee's bent the next time, lift the back knee. Feel that stretch. Nice long connected spine. And step back, plank pose. You can really elongate your spine. Feel really connected. Just kind of move forward and back a little bit. Take your mind off what you're doing. Good. And then lower your knees. Set your blocks off to the side for a moment and come down to your bellies again. Hands under your elbows. Going for that salabhasana again. So think long side body, lift shoulder blades up, but broaden the clavicles. Rib cages back. Lift the feet, lift the head, lift the hands, hover them. Stretch them forward by your ears if you want. You don't have to do all of this if it's not feeling good. Bend the elbows, hover the hands. Stretch them by your hips. Bend the elbows, hover, and lower down. Inhale, lift to cobra. Lengthen. And lower down. Downward facing dog. This time, step your feet forward to your hands and come to a forward fold. The front of your mat. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up, noticing how open your spine is. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, we're gonna do a little balancing to warm up even further. So stand on your right foot. Lift your left knee. Interlace in front of the knee if possible. Just kind of feeling out where we're at balance-wise today. Keep the hips level. Lengthen. Good, release that foot. Switch sides. Take your time. If you're dancing, it's okay. Sometimes that's the way it is. Good. Release. Come back to the first side, but this time have your right hand out to the side as you lift the left knee and grab a hold with the left hand. And wait until you have the balance and then slowly move it out to the side. And then bring it back in and release. Other side. Just notice lifting the right leg. I always have to tell myself to hug both hips in to keep myself moving upward. And then really make slow movement because that helps the balance. Bring it back to center and release. Okay, one more variation if you guys are up for trying it. So I'll just show you where we're going. So you lift the foot, because you can find either big toe or little toe side of foot. Move it off to the side and then maybe extend it. Sita Asta Parangustasana. That's the name of that one. So if you're not feeling that, just bring it off to the side. It's okay. Or you can grab the ankle, see how that works. Try and straighten it a little bit. You decide. Okay, so stand on the right foot. Left foot lift. The elbow has to be on the inside of the knee for you to be able to extend it. And release. Woohoo! Good job. Other side. Even if any part of that worked, you're doing well. Release. Woo! Good job. Find your blocks again. Come back to the front of your mat. We're just going to do a little flow, but it's with a few things, fun things added in. So inhale, stretch up, look up, really feel a nice long spine. Feels a little bit like salabhasana. And then fold forward. Pranam. And fold. Step your left foot back to a deep lunge. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. Step both feet back to downward facing dog on the blocks. If you want, you don't have to use blocks, but we're going to do step through. So nice to have a little lift. And extend the left leg now. Baby bend in the right knee. Hug both hips in. Bend the left knee just like you did before. Open it up, but this time stack left hip on top of right. Keep the shoulders stable for wild dog. Nice stretch in the belly. Good. Square up the hips. Bring your knee, your left knee towards your left elbow. Feels like plank, and then step it through. Woohoo! Now, make sure you have plenty of width between your feet. I just want you to feel that, because you're going to bend your left knee. So your left knee stays bent. Your right knee is what I meant. Bring your hands to your front thigh and come upright for crescent. Just let your arms dangle, because you're going to slowly, almost lower your right knee, keeping your hips square, and then lift back up a little bit. Both knees stay bent. So lower, keep the hips square, left hip crease back, and lift up a little bit. One more time, almost touch the ground, and lift back up again. Good, stretch your arms up. Good, touch down. Keep the back knee bent, but just kind of lift the hips up and back to straighten the left leg. Good, bend back into the front knee. Keeping the back knee bent. It's a lot more work to keep it bent. And think of the hips as staying square as you straighten the right leg or left leg again. And bend. One more time. This time straighten the back leg and maybe fold a little deeper. Good, bend back into the front knee. Lower the back knee. Hug to the midline, stretch up. Anjane Asana. Hug knee to heel, heel to knee. And please touch down. Good. Move the blocks to the side. Lift the back knee and step back to down dog. And we're going to do a vinyasa, but of course we need to do the salabhasana with it. So inhale, come to plank, lower to the mat. Remembering all that you've been doing, lift to salabhasana, cover the hands. Stretch the arms by the ear. You don't have to lift so high, just think length. Cover the hands. Stretch the hands by your hips. Hover. Lower the hands. Lower the feet, lift to cobra. Oh, much better. Good. Push back to all fours so that you can bring the blocks under your hands. And then lift to downward dog. Little bend in your knees. Maybe your feet are a little closer together. Just take note. Extend the right leg. Bend the knee. Lift the right hip. Keep the hips or the shoulders square. The hips are the right hip lifted over the left. Good. Square it up. As you come forward to plank, knee towards your right elbow. And step it through. Woohoo! Well done, you guys. Make sure there's width between your feet. And bend the back knee. Come upright. So it's kind of a modified crescent pose. Just kind of notice. Let your arms dangle. Almost touch the floor with your back knee. And lift again. 2 more times. Keep the right hip crease going back. And lift. Stretch up, crescent. Keeping the back knee bent, touch the blocks. Straighten the front leg. You can use the blocks on the higher height if you need it. So it's like a modified pyramid pose bend. Do that 2 more times. And 1 more time. Keeping the legs straight now, straighten the back leg. And maybe fold a little deeper, pyramid pose. Bend the front knee, lower the back knee, stretch up to Anjane Asana. And just notice everything feeling a little more open, hopefully. And please touch down. Lift the back knee, step forward, Uttanasana. Next, inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up. Stretch up. And bring hands to heart center. Close your eyes for a moment. Turn inward. See how your balance feels with closed eyes. We have one more sequence, a vinyasa sequence I want to do. So inhale, stretch up, open your eyes. Exhale, fold. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Downward facing dog. We're going to do wild dog again. So extend the right leg first this time. Bend the right knee. Lift the right hip to wild dog. Keep the shoulders and the same. Just lift the right hip. Feel really strong and connected and long in your spine. Good. Square it up. As you come forward, bring knee towards right elbow or forearm. Step it through. Good. Ground the back foot down. Bring the left hand to the hip. And you can either keep the right hand on the block or you can bring elbow to knee, your choice. I'm going to keep my hand on the block. I like that because I can press the knee into the arm and the arm into the knee as I open up for Parsva Konasana. Extend the arm, lengthen your spine. Right hip creases back, maybe stretch the arm by the ear. Good, now this is going to be a little bit weird. You're going to stretch the left arm back and come to a reverse triangle. So straighten the right leg and then come back to Parsva Konasana. Good, bend the knee when you, there you go. And 2 more times. So inhale, come up, straighten the front leg, reverse triangle, and Parsva Konasana. 1 more time. Take a breath, really feel the effects, and then touch down, turn the back heel up. Move the blocks out of the way, step back, down dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower. Set up for salabhasana. Forehead down is always my favorite way to start. Lift the feet, the head. You don't have to lift very high, lift the hands. Feel the effects. Mostly I want you to feel length and strength. Bring the arms forward. Bring the hands back, hover them. Stretch them by your hips. Bring them back in, hover them. Lower the hands, lower the feet, lift to cobra. And lower back down. Push back to all fours so you can get your blocks under there. And make your way to a down dog. Elevated down dog. Kind of nice. Extend the left knee or left leg. Bend the knee. Really engage your core. Open up wild dog. Right shoulder stays lifted. Good. Square up the hips. Come forward, knee to elbow or upper arm. Step it through. Good job. Round the back foot down. Right hand to the hip. And then you go where it feels good for you. If it's elbow on the knee, that's fine. Stretch the arm. Open up. Parsva Konasana. I like to feel the arm and the leg kind of hugging towards each other. Feel my sits bones back. Feel everything engage. Right or left hip crease moves back, but my knee and my toes point the same direction. Good. And then come back to that reverse triangle position. And bend back Parshvakonasana. 2 more times. Straighten the front leg as you move. And last time. And take a moment to feel really engaged. Good. Touch down, turn the back heel up. And step forward. Take a moment there. Move the blocks forward, turn the toes out a little bit. Bend your knees, come down to a deep squat. And just think, I have a long spine, but maybe I'm gonna hug my knees to my arms and round in a little bit. Feels good. And then bring your hands behind you and move your bum back so you're in the middle of the mat. Grab your blocks and bring them by your hips. And stretch your legs long. So I want you to have your legs on the mat. And then just bring your hands behind you. And think, do I need to pull my legs into the socket? You can do that so that you feel the sits bones underneath you. You can feel your spine able to lengthen. Your heels are touching down. This is actually a pose called Dandasana. Lengthen up. And then if you want more stretch, you just slowly walk your hands forward and think, I'm bending at the hip creases. I'm keeping my legs super engaged and lengthening. Maybe you fold a little deeper. Paschimottanasana, intense stretch of the backside, which should feel really good after all those locust poses. Just keep thinking length through the spine, active legs. And then come on up. I want to try this because you did so well with the hand balance last week. So bring your blocks by your hips. And I want your hands to be approximately under your shoulders. And watch me first. So I'm going to do this. I'm just going to press down so I can lift my bum up. And then I'm going to draw my legs back and then maybe lift. We'll see. It's okay if you don't get your feet up. I just feel that lengthening in your spine, drawing back. So try it. Press into your hands, lift your bum. Think, I'm going to really draw back, use my core, maybe lift the feet. And really, I know, grabs your quads a lot. I'm going to try it one more time. Okay, go for it. Yeah, you can make them the taller height too. Whew, it's a lot of work. Good. Go ahead and lose the blocks now. And bring your feet to the side. And come back to all fours. And stretch your feet long. And just sit back on your heels. Stretch those quads back out. Oh, that feels nice, right? Yeah, that's where you really, the strength is in your core, but it really gets your quads too. You want more stretch, you can lean back. Yeah, I wanted more. Yeah, ooh, that feels good. Good, and then come back forward. Come down to your elbows. So your elbows are right under shoulders or maybe slightly in front. Interlace your hands. Press your wrists down. Broaden your clavicles. Feel the shoulder blades really strong. Curl the toes. Lift your hips to dolphin pose. Lengthen through the top of your head. Your head doesn't touch down. You're pressing the forearms and the wrists and the hands down. If you want more stretch, you can walk your feet. Maybe lift one leg. Maybe lift the other. And release. Put your feet back. Come on down. Come up to a seated position. So I'm going to sit on my blanket. And maybe you guys should turn towards the middle so you can keep your feet on the mat. You're wide on the mat. Upa Vista. Now, if your knee allows, I'm going to have you do Janu Shirshasana. So just make sure you're inner spiraled and then bend just your right knee. Bring your heel towards the middle. Yeah, and then just face your outstretched leg. Notice your foot really active, your kneecap and toes point the same direction. And then just fold over that leg. I'm going to reach for the little toe side. And breathe. You're trying to center your belly. If you can press the top of your foot away and resist with your hand or with your foot, it feels really nice. Get a little extra stretch in there. And then come on back up. We switch. I always have to check what happened with my legs. You want this knee to be protected like it's a hinge, right? You don't want it kind of moving side to side. So you have to really think, am I inner spiraled so that I can get that knee bent properly? If it doesn't feel good, just keep it outstretched. Turn and face your lengthened leg. And slowly fold forward. One side always feels a little tighter than the other. I just like to call it my special side. My special side. Try pressing the foot away, so on the top, and resisting with the foot. Activates your core a little more. And then come on back up. Now just straighten your back leg and go on the mat again. And bend just your right knee. Going to get into the hips a little bit. Bring the ankle across the right knee. You need to inner spiral, feel that. So it feels like this leg, this right leg is just kind of turning in the socket, keeping the foot active, keeping both legs active. See if you want more stretch, you can lift it, play with it a little bit. Does it really move freely in that socket? Good, and then just bring it over so you can stack knee on top of knee. Bring the foot down. And again, I like to keep my foot flexed. and hug my heel in. You'll feel it in both hips a little bit. Lengthen up. Now this is a stretch that'll get your hamstrings and your hips. So if you want to fold deeper, you can. I like to think, bend just at the hip creases, lengthen out over the knee. And breathe. Sometimes you try and stretch so deep that you can't breathe. So just think, my most important job is to breathe. Good, and then come on back up. Now bring the knee upright, turn the foot forward, and hug the shin. Lengthen up. And then bring your right hand behind you. Hug your knee with your elbow, maybe, for a little twist. And unwind. Oh, that one's warm now. Stretch that leg out and we'll switch sides. First, think I'm going to safely hinge my knee, and then I'm just going to move the hip in the socket to bring the ankle on top. See how that feels, both legs really active. Lengthen up. If you want more stretch, you can lift it and just kind of move it around in the socket. Ooh. If there's any pain in your knee at all, you're not keeping that knee locked in that hinge position. I want you to think of it as a unit. Good, and then bring it across, knee on top of knee. Hug the heel in, lengthen up, maybe fold. This is called half Gomukhasana. Where do you feel it the most? In your hamstring or in your hip or both? Yeah. A lot of people tell me that my hamstrings are open, so I don't feel it at all in my hamstring. It's all in my hip. Ugh. Good, and come on up and we'll move the knee up now. Foot's grounded. Interlace. If your foot doesn't come down, then, it's okay to bring it to the inside. Pull back and up so you can lengthen. Feel that for a moment. And then twist. So left hand behind you, right elbow wraps. Press the foot down. Activate the other foot. Good, and unwind. And lay on your back. Feet underneath. I think this will feel good because we did so many salabhasanas today. So think of how it felt in salabhasana, how your core felt, what you were activating. Feel all four corners of your feet. Your hands and your arms can help you as you just press into those four corners and lift your hips. Sattu Bandha. If you can get the shoulder blades underneath more, you kind of roll side to side. Maybe you can interlace your hands. It's up to you. Keep pressing through all four corners of the feet. Maybe hug the heels towards you a little bit. Good, and then release and lower down. Hug your knees in to your chest, kind of roll side to side. And then massage the low back. And then just holding the kneecaps, push the knees away from you. Roll side to side. Massage your glutes. And I wanted to try one more fun pose. So it's called halasana or plow pose. So you kind of have to help yourself up. So you're just gonna have your hands support you by your hips, and you just kick your feet up over your head and bring the feet behind your head. And come along spine. It might or might not feel good. And if you don't feel like doing this, do another cool down pose. And then think, I'm gonna keep my upper thighs close to my chest as I slowly roll down. Oh. Bend the knees, bring them wide on the mat. Bring your arms to cactus. Lower your left knee towards your right ankle. Keep the right knee up. This should remind you of a few things that we did. And then switch, left knee up, right knee down. And one more time each side, right knee up, left knee down. Keep the curve in the low back. And switch last time. And then bring the feet a little closer together. And press into your feet and shift your hips to the left slightly, just a few inches. Hug your knees in, flex your feet, and allow your knees to roll to the right side. Your left hip will stack on top of the right. Keep your left shoulder blade down, excuse me. Maybe turn your gaze to the left. Enjoy a moment. Your left shoulder blade comes up totally fine. But I want you to be able to relax with your knees. And hugging the right knee into the left, come back to center with your knees. Bring the feet down so that you can shift your hips the other direction to the right. And then hug the knees in, flex the feet. Allow the knees to roll to the left. Gaze turns to the right. Hugging left knee into right. Come back to center. Shift your hips right to the middle. Hug your knees in. Lengthening your spine. Roll up into a little ball. And then go ahead and stretch out for Shavasana. Just taking note of where your shoulders are. Maybe allow them to support your heart. It's like they make a little throne for your heart to rest on. You still have the curve in your low back. Allow your legs to relax completely. Allow your arms in your hands to relax. Sometimes my fingers won't let go. So if you make a fist and squeeze and then release them, sometimes they'll let go a little easier. And with each exhale, allow yourself to release any muscle tension you're feeling. Relaxing your throat, your jaw. Allowing the eyeballs to just rest in the socket. Allowing all those little ligaments in your pelvis area that attach the leg to the pelvis. Just let them relax. Lengthen. Relax the soles of your feet. Imagine the floor is like a little mattress that cradles you to the earth. You can totally sink into. As you continue to just relax, I'd like to share a reading from Don Miguel Ruiz's son. He kind of wrote a daily reader about the agreement. So I think this one kind of plays into don't take anything personally. It says, you cannot expect that people will see you the way you really are, because they can't. They can only see you the way they are from their perspective. That is why it is pointless to feel victimized or to cry and suffer when someone says they don't like you. Their image of you is always about them and has nothing to do with you. You can, however, change the way you react so you don't feel victimized. You can change the habit you have to react a certain way. Begin to notice you're still breathing. Maybe take a couple deeper breaths. Start to notice that you are separate than the floor and that you can move, disconnect a little bit from it. Start to move and draw your knees in. Just take your time transitioning on up to seated. Give yourself a few moments there. Just bring your hands to heart center. And you can take this personally or not, but I think you're all badass. Namaste. Good day for Shavasana. Well, have a fantastic day, everybody. Yeah.